For real?
Hello? For real?
Hello? You're moving? Who told you? Your session mate graduated last year? Must be true. Girl, I'm probably moving too. Well, I mean, my colonel is moving and I'm clearly his favorite. He's probably taking me with him. I had to call Colonel, see if they want a carpool. You know, 4 drivers better than 2, right? We all headed out. All right, girl, hang in there. Just go on and start packing. If you got the word from your session mate, that's a wrap. All right then. I'm here for you. Praying for you. Bye now.
Hey friends, it's Ray with Crazy Calling. It is that time of year in the US of A, Southern Territory, when moves go out. And so I just wanted to share with you some thoughts on that. Please keep in mind while I'm sharing this that I realize that moves affect people in different ways. Some people feel excited about the adventure and the possibilities. Some people feel really anxious and a lot of anxiety, and I understand that. I also know that I don't have teenagers right now, and I know that that makes it way more difficult when the older your kids get, the harder it is, and there's some stress about that. And so please don't think that I'm trying to discount that at all. My kids are not there yet. They are 6, 7, and 9, and I actually asked my kids, hey guys, we find out if we're moving soon. And my youngest stood up and she was like, we could skip on out of here right now. And then she left the room. And so, I don't even know if she still lives with me anymore. Anyway, I just want to share with you some thoughts that have helped my husband and I get through this season every year. Let's get to it. The first thing is the waiting. This time, these few weeks when it's like, the calls are coming, you've gotten the email that's like, hey, make sure you have your phone available to answer it, which, by the way, I'd really like to meet the person who tried that. Like, nope, I'm not answering. If I don't answer, they can't move me. It's stressful. You start getting phone calls. You moving? You think you're moving? What do you think? You think so-and-so's moving? They've been there for a while. All this starts going on. And it can start really kind of plaguing us and getting to us. So I just wanted to share with you some helpful tips that we have. First of all, go ahead and work on your brief. Sometimes when you move, that's the thing that is the most daunting. Once you come over those move orders and the brief is waiting for you. This time of year, my husband and I typically will try to work on our brief and make sure it's at least somewhat up to date. And we also will work on projects at the court and at the home. In fact, I'm in my guest room and my guest bed is full of outlets because he's been working on these, getting them, replacing all of our outlets. We have the old yellow ones. So, work on something in your house or deep clean something that you don't use very often, or just something that'll help you, that if you do come on those orders, it's not going to feel so overwhelming all at once. Assign some responsibilities. This time of year, we also look at things that we might be doing that we could actually ask somebody else to do. I'll give you Sunday morning, for example. If you're putting out the snacks every morning, maybe you have a team that can do that. If you are organizing spaces, maybe you have a great organizer that can help you to get those things done. If you print off all the Sunday school material and put it out, but you have somebody that's willing to help you with that, and you can pass on those responsibilities. If you do get move orders, you've made it less overwhelming and prepared the person that's coming in behind you. If you don't, you've given a gift to yourself by allowing your church family to come alongside you a little bit more and help you with some of those things that you're doing. So either way, it's a win. So go ahead and work on those things. It's not for naught if you don't move. And the other thing to do in the waiting, it's a big win. Don't turn it off, okay? But pray. Pray for, if you are moving, the people that are coming in after you, that the Lord is preparing them to take the appointment and make it even better and grow it even more than you were able to. That addresses our care for the people and also the pride we may have when somebody comes behind us and is doing really great, right? Go ahead and pray for yourself if you're moving, to prepare you for where you're going. Eventually you're moving, so asking to be prepared for where you're going and to grow in that way is not going to be a waste. So that when you get to where you are going, that you feel more equipped. You know that the Lord has had you in his hands at that time. Pray for your family, for their ministry, for the friends that they would have and that they would make. Pray for your neighbors. Pray about things that you would worry about. And that way, on the day of cause, you will have peace. And don't guess. Don't guess. We have guessed before when we have figured out, okay, we might be moving. We have guessed before, and there were different places that might be available to us, and where we ended up going was not anywhere close to where we had guessed. In fact, it was only an hour and a half away, and we were like, what? That's not even an adventure. Like, our kids don't even have time to watch a movie in the car. And it was kind of disappointing because it wasn't on our radar. But, you know, what we know now is it was God's perfect plan and it was always intended. But if we hadn't have been guessing about where we'd go, it wouldn't have ruined that beginning of that adventure for us. And so try really hard, like, not to get caught up in the guessing game of it, but just pray about it. And that way, on the day of cause, you will have peace. And that's what I'll be praying for everybody, that on that day, everybody has peace and knows that they're in God's hand and in God's plan. Tips for if you are just ready to move. You're just burnt out on your appointment. You're ready for a new set of problems. You've just struggled. Your kids have had a hard time here. Whatever the case may be, you're ready for a move. But guess what? The chances are you might not be moving. Here's our tip for what helps us when we thought we were ready for a move, but we knew we weren't getting a move because of where we were in our pregnancy. We were ready, but we just knew the chances were that it just wasn't going to happen. We created something new. We needed something new, and we created something new. We created a prayer series for that appointment that would start after moves went out. We decorated our chapel as a whole prayer garden, lanterns included. We created prayer journals. It was just a whole new way of worship. We weren't going to preach for those, 2 months of that prayer. So we were just going to teach our people how to engage further in prayer. We needed something new. We created something new, and God blessed it in that appointment. So create something new. Also, while you're in that appointment for that extra year and you know that you're ready to go, every time that something would happen that was meaningful, no matter how little, we would just declare to the Lord, like, if you left us here for this, then we're glad that you left us here. And that helped us to stay focused and stay in tune with our appointment, because we know that God just wasn't having us in a, year of nothingness. Like, if we were there, he was going to use us. And so we tried to be intentional about remembering those times. So this may not help you in the waiting, but it may help you after that when you don't get that call, right? When you want to call and be like, did you miss one? So if you are sitting around thinking, I don't want to go, and your phone rings and it's like, remember this: God's timing is in fact perfect. And I know I'm telling you something you already know, but there was a time where we did not want to move. We had big things going on in our appointment. We really wanted to see this project through. We'd worked on it for the whole time we were there, and it was finally going to come to fruition in this last year, and we were just not wanting to go, and we came down on move orders. And when we got to that appointment, it was so difficult. The first year was such a hard time. It was just a challenging appointment, and there was so much that we were going through, and then the year mark came, which was during COVID, and it was time for moves to go out. And I'm sitting on the front porch with my husband, and he turns to me and says, "Can you imagine if we were just now coming down on orders to come here?" Because we knew that the plan was always projected for us to go to this appointment, but just a year later. So he says to me, "Can you imagine if we were just now coming to this appointment?" And it like dawns on me, like God's perfect timing. Like, how could I have missed it? How could I have been so blind? How could I have forgotten that God's timing is everything? And I look at his provision and the fact that we came earlier, because there were things that we needed to do that would have been so much more difficult if we came in during the time of COVID. But because we'd come here earlier, we were able to serve our community much more efficiently in the time during COVID and after. And also the appointment that we struggled with so deeply at the beginning has just become so cherished to us. So please do remember, if you get that call and you are not wanting that call, God's timing is everything. I cannot tell you that enough. He will take care of the appointment you leave, and he has something for you going forward. Remember, God's plan is for your entire family. It is not just for you. Your children are not on standby until they're 18. He has something for them right now. He has something for them where they're going. I can see all the ways that God has weaved ministry into my children's life the entire time that we've been in ministry. So please remember that, and even as like growing up as a teen, as a kid that struggled, I see where God used all of it and is still using all of it to his glory. And so remember that even though it is challenging for your children, he's not forgotten them, and he has a plan for them, not just us. We're not just dragging them along in our ministry. We are taking them with us in the ministry that he has for our whole family. Don't check out. Don't check out where you are. God's ministry happens in the moments, and there are still a lot of moments to have. I mean, if you look at what happened in the Bible and the times that Jesus was working, you know, when they throw over their net and they pull up all these fish, when the woman touches his garment and she's healed, when he tells the other lady, you know, go and sin no more, your faith has saved you. Lazarus, come out. Get up and walk, dude. Like, all these things happen in a moment, and there's still so many moments of ministry left right where you are. Don't check out. Don't start packing your totes just yet. Go ahead and prepare so that you're not as overwhelmed at the end, and your preparation can still help you to be successful in the appointment that you're in if you stay there. But don't check out, because you will miss those ministry moments that are still so precious and so valuable, and God can work in those up until those last seconds. He can work in you in that appointment. Don't check out of your appointment. Listen, we sometimes will feel overwhelmed by a possibility of going to an appointment, or we'll feel like we're not validated because they haven't sent us somewhere, you know, that we can really use all of our gifts and talents. I'm going to tell you this. There is nowhere that anyone can send you that God can't use you. He will use you. Anywhere that you will be come Father's Day, when Welcome Sundays happen, whether you're where you are now, whether you're where you're going next, wherever you are, there are people that are there that are lost and need a Savior. There are people that are there that feel hopeless and need somebody to bring them hope. There are people that are there that don't feel like they belong anywhere. They don't have anyone, and they need a church family, and they need to know that they're included and that they're important and that they're valuable. And you have the ability to do that wherever you are. And your children have an opportunity to help with that wherever they are. You are in God's hands. He has a plan. There is nowhere that you're going to go God doesn't already know. Praying for you during this time. And like always, enjoy this crazy calling. See you next time.
Hello? For crying out loud, give it a rest already. It's coming out April 4th.